Dead! One of them shot by the sea in the east, and one of them shot in the west by the sea. Dead! Both my boys! When you sit at the feast and are wanting a great song for Italy free, let none look at me! Yet I was a poetess only last year, and good at my art for a woman men said. But this woman, this who is agonized here, the East Sea and West Sea rhyme on her head forever instead. What art can a woman be good at? Oh, vain! What art is she good at? But hurting her breast with the milk teeth of babes and a smile at the pain. Ah, boys, how you hurt! You were strong as you pressed, and I proud by that test. What art's for a woman? To hold on her knees, both darlings! To feel all their arms round her throat, cling, strangle a little, to sew by degrees, embroider the long clothes and neat little coat, to dream and to dote. To teach them. It stings there! I made them indeed speak plain the word country. I taught them, no doubt, that a country's a thing men should die for at need. I prated of liberty, rights, and about, the tyrant cast out. And when their eyes flashed, oh, my beautiful eyes! I exulted, nay, let them go forth at the wheels of the guns and denied not. But then the surprise when one sits quite alone, and one weeps, then one kneels. God, how the house feels! At first happy news came, in gay letters moiled, with my kisses, of camp life and glory, and how they both loved me, and, soon coming home to be spoiled, in return would fan off every fly from my brow with their green laurel bough. Then was triumph at Turin. Ancona was free, and someone came out of the cheers in the street with a face pale as stone to say something to me. My Guido was dead. I fell down at his feet while they cheered in the street. I bore it. Friends soothed me. My grief looked sublime as the ransom of Italy. One boy remained to be leant on and walked with, recalling the time when the first grew immortal, while both of us strained to the height he had gained. And letters still came, shorter, sadder, more strong, writ now but in one hand. I was not to faint. One loved me for two, would be with me ere long, and Viva l'Italia he died for, our saint, who forbids our complaint. My nanny would add he was safe and aware of a presence that turned off the balls, was impressed it was Guido himself who knew what I could bear, and now 'twas impossible, quite dispossessed, to live on for the rest. On which, without pause, up the telegraph line, swept smoothly the next news from Gaeta. Shot, tell his mother. Their mother, not mine. No voice says my mother again to me. What? You think Guido forgot? Our souls straight so happy that, dizzy with heaven, they drop earth's affections, conceive not of woe? I think not. Themselves were too lately forgiven through that love and sorrow which reconciled so the above and below. O Christ of the 5 wounds, who looked through the dark to the face of thy mother, consider, I pray, how we common mothers stand desolate, Mark, whose sons, not being Christ's, die with eyes turned away, and no last words to say. Both boys dead, but that's out of nature. We all have been patriots, yet each house must always keep one. 'Twere imbecile, hewing out roads to a wall, and, when Italy's made, for what end it is done, if we have not a son? Ah! When Gaeta's taken, what then? When the fair wicked queen sits no more at her sport of the fireballs of death crashing souls out of men, when the guns of Cavalli with final retort have cut the game short, when Venice and Rome keep their new jubilee, when your flag takes all heaven for its white, green, and red, when you have your country from mountain to sea, when King Victor has Italy's crown on his head, and I have my dead. What then? Do not mock me. Ah, ring your bells low, and burn your lights faintly. My country is there, above the star pricked by the last peak of snow. My Italy's there, with my brave civic pair, to disfranchise despair. Forgive me, some women bear children in strength, and bite back the cry of their pain in self-scorn. But the birth pangs of nations will wring us at length into wail such as this, and we sit on forlorn when the man-child is born. Dead! One of them shot by the sea in the east, and one of them shot in the west by the sea. Both! Both, my boys! If in keeping the feast you want a great song for Italy free, let none look at me.
Okay, so to begin with, you can see the poem is broken down into a lot of stanzas. This is, I think, so that she can have separate ideas in each one that all tie together to get across her purpose. Um, the beginning with the title, Mother and Poet, the two were tied together. So, to use Soapstone to have a better idea, the speaker is a mother who has lost two sons in the war, and she's also a poet, and she's still grieving. The occasion is the poem was written in the 1800s, and the speaker's from England, or the author really. And throughout the poem, she's just talking about how she raised her sons and they both died in the war. I don't think there's a specific audience. I think it's pretty generic. The purpose is to share the importance of poets and mothers and how sometimes their good deeds and what they give can be taken for granted. The subject is a woman who lost her sons in the war, and the tone is very mournful and passionate, I'd say. I think the speaker um, cares a lot for her sons. In the second half of the stanza, there's a lot of allusions to uh, the Bible and Christ. And the author also begins and ends the poem with the same stanza. Dead, one of them shot by the sea in the east, and one of them shot in the west by the sea. Dead, both my boys. When you sit at the feast and are wanting a great song for Italy free, let none look at me.